The man stood alone in the
my
dark.
God.
His name was Marcus A. Was 37 years old. He had a sleeping bag, a broken tent, and $300 left in the world. He was standing on 30 acres of land that nobody wanted. The land was called Cursed. 3 families had tried to live here. All 3 had left broken and scared. Now it was Marcus's turn. The sky was black above him, not dark blue, not dark gray. Pure black. The kind of black that happens in October when the sun goes down early and the clouds move in like they own the night. The wind was cold. Not normal cold, the kind of cold that cuts through your clothes and reminds you that winter is coming. Winter will not care if you are ready. Winter will come anyway. Marcus looked at his new property. 30 acres stretched out in front of him. Dead grass, twisted trees. The trees looked like old hands reaching up to the sky, reaching like they were asking for help. The grass was brown. The earth was hard. Nothing moved except the wind. Nothing lived here except the wind. He had bought this land for $30. 30. He had $300 total in the world, and he had spent 30 of it on this place. The person who sold it to him smiled when he signed the papers. It was not a happy smile. It was a smile that said he had won something. It was a smile that said Marcus had lost something very big. In the town, people had told him what they thought. The waitress at the diner had poured his coffee and said, "You will be gone by spring." They all are. The old man at the gas station had shaken his head. The woman at the real estate office had not looked at him when she handed over the papers. They all knew something. They all believed something about this land. The cursed land, that is what they called it. Marcus did not believe in curses. He believed in failure. He knew failure very well now. He had lost his job in the city. The company said it was restructuring. Marcus knew it meant they did not need him. It meant he was not valuable. It meant he was the kind of person who disappears from a company and nobody notices. His wife had left him in the summer. She said she needed to save herself. Marcus understood. He was a man who could not even save himself, so why should she stay? So he came here, to nowhere, to a place people called Cursed, to 30 acres that cost $30. Maybe if he could not save himself, he could at least disappear where nobody knew him. That is when he heard the sound. At first, it was just the wind. Marcus thought it was the wind. Wind makes many sounds. Wind cries. Wind screams. Wind sounds like it is hurt. But this sound was different. This sound came again and again. It was not the wind. It was crying. Real crying. The crying of something alive. Marcus grabbed the flashlight from his truck. The flashlight was cheap. Very cheap. The kind you buy at a gas station for $5. When you moved it fast, it flickered. But it worked. He pointed it toward where the sound was coming from. The sound came from the eastern fence line. The fence was old. The fence had not been painted in many years. The fence was broken in places. Marcus walked toward the sound. He walked through grass that was taller than his waist. His jeans got wet from the dew and the dead plants. He did not care. Something needed help. He could hear it. He could feel it. The flashlight beam found her. She was a horse, but she was not a normal horse. She was what happened to a horse when nobody cared for it, when nobody fed it, when nobody loved it. Her ribs showed through her skin. You could see each bone. Each rib was like a line drawn on her body. Her coat was not brown or black or any horse color. Her coat was dirty. Her coat was matted. Her coat was coming off in places. Her back leg was wrong. Not broken, exactly, but wrong. It was positioned in a way that hurt to look at Dot. Her head was down. She did not look up when Marcus came. She had stopped expecting anything. She had stopped hoping. She was just standing there, just breathing, just surviving one more second. But her eye was the worst part. The light from the flashlight caught her eye. The eye was black and wet and empty. So empty, like all the hope had been taken out and replaced with nothing. Marcus felt something break inside his chest. something that he thought was dead, something that had sealed shut when his wife left, something that had sealed shut when his job disappeared. That something broke open. "Oh," Marcus said. Just one word. "Oh." The horse made the sound again. Not a normal horse sound. Not a neigh. Just a sad sound. A broken sound. The sound of something that is dying and knows it. She was a female horse. A mare. Marcus can see this now. He did not know how old she was. Maybe 10 years old. Maybe 20. Hunger makes animals look older. Hunger changes them. Her hooves had grown too long. They curved at the ends. They were cracked. She had not stood on soft ground in months, maybe longer. There was a rope around her neck. Not a rope for leading a horse. A farm rope. A rope for tying things down, for keeping things in place. The rope was tied to a fence post. But the fence post belonged to the neighbor's land. Not to Marcus's land. Someone had brought this horse here. Someone had tied her here. Someone had left her to die. The horse tried to step toward Marcus. Her back leg would not help her. She moved slowly. She moved like every step hurt. But she moved toward him. "It is okay," Marcus said. He did not know if it was okay. He had no food for a horse. He had no money for a veterinarian. He had nothing. But he said it was okay. "It is okay, girl. It is okay." He reached toward her neck. His hands were shaking. Not strong hands. Not hands of a person with answers. Hands of a person who did not know what he was doing. The horse flinched. For 1 second, she thought he would hurt her. Then she gave up. She did not flinch anymore. She just stood there. Marcus untied the rope with his shaking hands. The rope came free. He looked toward his neighbor's land, toward the darkness where someone lived. Someone who had done this, someone who had left this horse to die. And Marcus felt something he had not felt in a long time. Anger. Real anger. Clean anger. The anger of seeing something wrong and deciding you would not look away. "Come on," he said to the horse. "Come on, girl. I do not know who I am yet. I do not know if I can help, but I will not leave you here. I will not be like the person who brought you. Go on." He led the starving horse toward his property. The horse followed. Her bad leg dragged. She moved slowly, but she followed. And Marcus, the man who had come here to disappear, found that he could not disappear. Not now. Not with this horse. Not with something that needed him. The curse was not about the land. He did not know this yet, but he would learn it. The curse was about being alone. The curse was about making choices alone. The curse was about deciding that broken meant you had nothing left to give. But that was about to change. That night in the dark, with a starving horse and a man who had nothing but time, everything was about to change.
When Marcus woke, he had not really slept. He had sat on an old bucket in the barn all night. His back was broken from sitting. His legs were numb. His eyes felt like someone had filled them with sand. But he could not leave the horse. He could not sleep while something was dying in front of him. The horse stood in the corner of the barn. She had barely moved all night. She had drunk water. That was all. She had drunk water, like it was the most important thing in the world. She had drunk for 10 minutes straight. Her throat had moved with every pull. Marcus could see the water going down her neck. He could see her body taking it, and like her life depended on this one thing. Maybe it did. Now it was early morning. The sun was not up yet, but the sky was changing. The black was becoming dark blue. The dark blue was becoming gray. The gray was becoming lighter. Soon the sun would come up. Marcus would have to do something. But what? He had no food for a horse. Real horse food, the kind you buy at a feed store. He had looked around the property. He had found some old hay in the corner. It was old, maybe 5 years old. Mice had chewed it. Dust was everywhere. But it was hay. It was better than nothing. It was better than dying. Marcus got the hay. He put it in a bucket. He put the bucket in front of the horse. She looked at it for a long time. She did not move. Marcus thought she might be too weak to eat. He thought she might just die standing up. That is what dying horses do sometimes. They just stop. They stop eating. They stop trying. They stop. But then the horse moved. She moved slowly. Her back leg dragged. But she moved toward the bucket. She put her nose down. She started to eat. She ate like she had never seen food before, like she thought it would disappear, like someone would take it away. She ate like every piece of hay was a fight. She was winning against death. Marcus watched her eat and felt tears in his eyes. He did not cry. He just stood there with water running down his face. When had he become a person who cried about horses? When had he become a person who cared about anything? But he was caring now. He was caring about this dying horse. And he had no idea what to do. The barn was cold. October mornings are cold. The wind came through cracks in the wood. The roof had holes. The sun, when it finally came up, came through those holes and lines, like God was pointing at things, pointing at the broken barn, pointing at the starving horse, pointing at Marcus, who had no plan. Marcus looked at the horse and understood something terrible. She was very sick, not just hungry sick, sick in her chest. He could hear it when she breathed, a sound like water, like something was broken inside her lungs. Her breathing was wrong. It was too fast, too shallow, like she was working very hard to get air. A sick horse needs a veterinarian. A veterinarian costs money, money that Marcus did not have. He had $300. He needed that money to buy food for himself. He needed that money to pay for water. He needed that money to survive the next month. He could not afford a veterinarian. So what would he do? Let the horse die? Let her suffer while he waited for her to give up? Let her starve more slowly and surely while he did nothing? Marcus sat back down on the bucket. His head felt heavy. He felt the weight of impossible choices. He was a man with nothing who had just taken responsibility for something. He was a failure who had just decided to save something. He was a man who could not save himself trying to save a horse. This was stupid. This was the dumbest thing he had ever done. But when he looked at the horse eating the old hay, eating like her life depended on it, eating like she believed there might be a tomorrow, Marcus knew he could not give up. He needed help. But who would help him? He was a crazy man who bought the cursed land. He was a failure who had lost everything. He was a man who came to this town with nothing and bought property that nobody wanted. Nobody would help him. Nobody would care. But he had to try. He had to ask. Because if he did not ask, the horse would die. And he could not live with that. Marcus left the horse eating. He drove his truck into town. The truck was old. The truck made sounds it should not make. But it drove. It got him to the diner where Sarah worked. Sarah was the waitress who had told him he would be gone by spring. Sarah was the waitress who looked at him like he was crazy. The diner was warm. The diner smelled like coffee and eggs and people who had normal lives. Marcus stood in the doorway. He did not belong here. He knew he did not belong here. But he walked inside anyway. Sarah was pouring coffee for an old man. She saw Marcus come in and her face changed. She did not smile. She looked at him like he was bringing bad news. "The horse," Marcus said. Just those two words. Just the truth. "I found a horse. On my property. She is starving. She is sick. I do not have money for a veterinarian. I do not know what to do." Sarah stopped pouring coffee. The old man looked at Marcus. Two other customers looked at Marcus. Everyone in the diner looked at Marcus like he had said something strange. Something unexpected. "What kind of horse?" Sarah asked. "A mare," Marcus said. "She is old. Her ribs show. Her back leg is hurt. She makes a sound when she breathes. A bad sound." Sarah set down the coffee pot. She wiped her hands on her apron. She was thinking about something. Her face was moving through thoughts. Worry. Memory. Something else. Something Marcus could not read. "Come with me," she said. She looked at the man who owned the diner. "I am taking a break." She took off her apron. She walked outside. Marcus followed her. They stood in the parking lot. The sun was up now. The morning was getting warmer. Sarah looked at Marcus, and something in her eyes had changed. "My ex-husband," she said slowly, "is a veterinarian. He does not like people, but he likes animals. He likes to fix broken things." She paused. "I will talk to him, but you have to understand something. You cannot save everything. You cannot save every broken thing. You will destroy yourself trying." "I know," Marcus said, but he did not know. He did not care. All he knew was that a horse was dying, and he was not going to look away. Sarah's phone came out. She called her ex-husband. She told him about a starving horse. She told him about a man with nothing trying to save it. She told him something that made her ex-husband say yes. She told him she would make him pie. "He will come tomorrow morning," Sarah said. "Can the horse last until then?" "I do not know," Marcus said. "I hope so." Sarah nodded. "Go back to your property. Give her more water. Keep her warm. Talk to her. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes animals know when someone cares." Marcus drove back to the cursed land. He did not feel cursed anymore. He felt like someone had thrown him a rope. Someone had reached down into the hole he was in and offered help. He did not know why, but he was grateful. When he got back to the barn, the horse was sleeping. She was standing up sleeping. Her head was drooping. Her bad leg was locked, but she was sleeping. And for the first time since he found her, she looked peaceful. Marcus sat on the bucket again. He waited for dawn. He waited for the veterinarian. He waited and hoped and believed in something for the first time in a very long time. The horse was going to survive. He did not know how he knew this, but he knew it. The truck came at 9 in the morning. It was a big truck, clean, official looking. On the side it said Riverside Ranch, Large Animal Veterinary Services. It said it like it was important, like it belonged somewhere. The truck stopped at Marcus's gate. A man got out. He was tall. He was lean in the way that came from working outside. His skin was dark from the sun. His hands were big and used to work. He did not smile when he saw Marcus, but he did not frown either. He just looked at the property, and then he looked at Marcus. "Sarah said you have a horse problem," he said. His voice was low and calm, the voice of someone who dealt with scared animals every day. "Yes," Marcus said. "She is in the barn. She is very sick. She is very hungry." The man nodded. "I am Jim, Sarah's ex-husband. She promised me pie if I came out here. So I came." Jim walked toward the barn like he knew where he was going, like he had been to many barns, like he knew what he would find. Marcus followed him. They went into the barn where the light came through holes in the roof, where the dust moved like ghosts. The horse was standing in the corner. She looked different than she had that first night. She was still thin. She was still broken. But something in her had changed. She was not giving up. She was fighting. Jim walked toward her slowly. He did not move fast. He did not make noise. He moved like he respected her, like she was not just a sick animal, but a creature that had feelings and fears. "Hey, girl," he said quietly. "I am just going to look at you. Just going to check your body. You are okay." The horse did not move away. She let him touch her. He put his hands on her ribs. He felt her legs. He looked at her hooves. He looked at her teeth. He listened to her heart with a stethoscope. He listened to her breathing. He looked in her eyes for a very long time. Finally, he stepped back. "She has a respiratory infection," Jim said. "Her lungs have fluid. That is why she sounds like that. Her back leg is badly bruised but not broken. If you keep her warm and dry, the leg will heal." He paused. "She is starving, very starving. But here's what you need to know. This horse was once loved. Someone took very good care of her once." Marcus did not understand. "How do you know that?" Jim pointed to the horse's teeth. "Her teeth are well cared for. Someone paid for dental work. Her bones are good. Whoever fed her once, fed her correctly. This is not a horse that was always treated like this. This is a horse that was loved and then abandoned. That is worse somehow. That is cruelty on top of cruelty." Marcus felt anger again. That clean anger. The anger of injustice. Someone had loved this horse and then left her to die. Someone had cared for her and then forgotten her. Can you save her? Marcus asked. Yes, Jim said, but it will take time. You need antibiotics. I have some in the truck. You need good hay, not this old stuff. He looked around the barn like he was judging it, but his face was not mean. His face was just realistic. You need to keep her warm. You need to feed her slowly. If you give her too much food too fast, it will kill her. Her stomach has forgotten what real food is. You have to teach again. Jim went to his truck. He came back with bottles. Medicine bottles. He showed Marcus how to give the medicine, how to put it in a syringe, how to put the syringe in the horse's mouth, how to let her swallow it. His hands were gentle. His voice was patient. She will get better, Jim said. I promise you this. She will get better. After Jim left, after he gave Marcus instructions written on paper, after he shook Marcus's hand and said Sarah's pie better be good, Marcus sat alone in the barn. He sat on his bucket. He looked at the horse who had been loved once and then thrown away. He needed to know. He needed to find out who she was, where she came from, why someone would do this. That night, Marcus did something he had not done in weeks. He used his laptop. His laptop had almost no battery. It had no internet where he lived, but he drove to the town. He parked at the library. He used their internet. He searched for things. Horse rescue. Abandoned horses. He searched for the rope that had been around her neck. Navy blue rope with a red stripe. He searched for farm equipment stores in the area. He searched until his eyes hurt. Then he tried something different. He looked at the horse's markings. She had a white stripe on her face. She had white socks on her back feet. He described these things in the search. He typed in details about her age and her size. And then he found something. An article from the local paper. From 12 years ago. It showed a picture of a girl at the county fair. The girl was young, maybe 14 years old. She had braided hair. She was smiling like she had just won something important. Next to her was a horse. The horse had a white stripe on her face. The horse had white socks. The horse was beautiful. The headline said, Emma Morrison wins champion. Copper Sunrise takes blue ribbon. Marcus found more articles, more photos. Year after year, Emma and Copper Sunrise. They competed together. They won together. They moved together like they had known each other forever, like they were one thing made into two bodies. Then the article stopped. No more photos. No more championships. Just silence. Marcus searched for Emma Morrison. He found a Facebook page. She was grown now. She was 26 years old. She lived in the next county. She worked at a veterinary clinic. Emma Morrison had loved this horse, had cared for it, had won championships with it, and then she had disappeared from its life, and the horse had been left behind. Marcus wanted to send her a message. He wanted to tell her that her horse was still alive, that he had found her, that she was going to survive. But what if Emma did not care anymore? What if she had forgotten about Copper Sunrise? What if she did not want to know? Marcus closed the laptop. He drove back to the cursed land. He looked at the horse that had once been loved by a girl named Emma. He made a decision. He would wait. He would not tell Emma yet. He would save the horse first. He would make her strong again. He would prove that she could be healed. And only then would he find Emma and tell her the truth. Only then would he give her a choice. The horse ate her medicine. The horse drank water. The horse, whose name was Copper Sunrise, began the slow work of learning to live again. And Marcus, who had nothing, now had a purpose. He had a secret. He had a reason to wake up every morning. He had a story to tell someone. Marcus sat at the library computer for 3 hours. He did not know what to write. He did not know how to tell someone that their lost horse was alive. How do you write those words? How do you say something that big? Finally, he typed, Hello, Emma. My name is Marcus. I found your horse. Copper Sunrise. She was abandoned and starving on my property. She is alive. She is going to be okay. I want you to know. He sent it. Then he closed the computer. He did not think she would answer. Why would she answer? She was a grown woman now. She had a new life. She probably did not think about horses from when she was a teenager, but the answer came the next morning. Emma's email was short. It said, "I will be there at 3 o'clock. Please tell me she is really alive." Marcus read it 50 times. He showed it to Sarah at the diner. Sarah cried. She put her hand over her mouth and tears came out. Then she said, "You need to make this right. You need to make sure Copper looks good. Emma deserves to see the horse she loved." Marcus spent the whole day preparing. He cleaned the barn. He took out the old wood and broken things. He put down fresh straw. He brushed Copper Sunrise until her coat was shining. The horse was stronger now. 2 weeks of good food and medicine had changed her. She still limped. She still had sadness in her eyes. But she was alive. She was fighting. Marcus led her out to the pasture. The pasture had good grass now. Sarah had helped him fix the fence. The grass was green and full. Copper Sunrise walked out into the sunshine. She walked slowly because her back leg was still weak. But she walked. She moved toward the grass like she remembered what living felt like. At 2:45, Marcus heard a car. It came slowly up the drive. It was a small car, a car that belonged to someone who worked hard for small money. The car stopped and a woman got out. She was not old. She was not young. She was somewhere in between. She had brown hair. She had the same face as the girl in the photographs. But the face was different now. It was a face that had learned something hard. It was a face that had carried something heavy. She did not look at Marcus. She looked past him. She looked at the pasture. She looked for the horse. "Where is she?" Emma said. Her voice was not calm. Her voice was shaking. "There," Marcus said. He pointed to the far end of the pasture. Copper Sunrise was eating grass. She was just a brown horse with a white stripe eating grass in the sun. But to Emma, she was something else. She was something lost that had been found. Emma did not walk. She ran. She ran through the pasture like she was 14 years old again, like she was running toward her horse for the first time. Her feet were fast. Her breath was hard. She ran like nothing else in the world mattered except getting to that horse. Copper Sunrise heard her. The horse's head came up. The horse looked toward the sound. And something happened that Marcus would never forget. The horse knew her. Copper Sunrise started walking toward Emma. Not fast, not like a young horse. Like an old horse that was remembering something. The horse walked toward the girl, and the girl ran toward the horse, and they met in the middle of the pasture. Emma put her arms around the horse's neck. She put her face against the horse's body, and she cried. Not quiet crying, big crying. The kind of crying that comes from a place where you keep your biggest hurts. "I am sorry," Emma said into the horse's neck. "I am sorry. I am sorry. I left you. I left you and I am sorry." Copper Sunrise stood very still. She let the girl hold her. She let the girl cry into her coat. And then very slowly, the horse put her head down. She put her face next to Emma's face, like she was saying something, like she was saying, "I forgive you. I remember you. I love you." Marcus stood at the edge of the pasture. He did not move. He did not want to interrupt this moment. This moment was not for him. This moment was between a girl and a horse. This moment was about love that had broken and was now trying to come back together. After a long time, Emma sat down in the grass. Copper Sunrise lay down next to her. The horse put her head on the girl's lap, and they just stayed like that, girl and horse, together again, like nothing had ever separated them. When Emma finally came back to where Marcus stood, her face was different. It was still sad, but it was also lighter, like something heavy had been taken off. "Thank you," she said. "I do not have words for this. I do not have the right words." "You do not need words," Marcus said. Emma sat down on the fence rail. She looked out at Copper Sunrise eating grass. "My father said she was old," Emma said quietly. "He said she went to a good home. I believed him because I wanted to believe him. I did not want to know the truth." She paused. "But the truth is I left her. I was 19 years old, and I was too scared to fight my father. He said horses were expensive. He said I had to choose between him and the horse. And I chose him. And I hate myself for that. Your father was wrong, Marcus said. And you were young. You were scared. That is not the same as being bad. I know, Emma said, but she did not know that. She was just a horse. She was just waiting for the girl who loved her to come back. Emma looked at Marcus with new eyes. Why did you do this? You do not know her. You do not know me. You have nothing. Why did you save her? Marcus thought about this question. He thought about the broken man who had arrived at the cursed land with nothing. He thought about how saving the horse had saved him too. Because I could, he said simply, and because she deserved it. Emma nodded. She stood up. I want to bring her to my farm. I have land there. I have a good barn. I have a pasture where she can run without fear. I want to give her the life she should have had, the life I cannot give her. Yes, Marcus said. Yes, you should do that. But I want to know you, Emma said. I want to know the man who saved my horse. I want to tell people his name. I want to tell them what you did. Marcus looked out at the pasture. He looked at copper sunrise standing in the sun. He looked at Emma, the girl who had come home to her horse. My name is Marcus, he said, and I am someone who was broken and found something to fix. And in fixing it, I fixed myself too. Emma smiled, not a big smile, but a real smile, the smile of someone who understood something true. Come on, she said. Let me help you load her. Let me take her home. Let me give her the rest of her life that she deserves. And Marcus, the man who had come to the cursed land with nothing, helped the girl take her horse home. And he felt something he had never felt before. He felt like he had done something that mattered. 3 months passed. Winter came to the cursed land, and it was not cursed anymore. Snow fell on Marcus's property in December. Clean snow, white snow, the kind of snow that makes everything new. The barn looked different under the snow. It looked almost beautiful. The broken wood was hidden. The cracks were covered. The snow made it possible to believe that everything could be fixed. But Marcus had not been alone during those 3 months. Sarah came to the property every Saturday. She brought supplies. She brought materials to fix the barn. She brought food and coffee and the quiet help of someone who understood what it meant to be broken and trying to become something else. One day she brought news. She had sold her diner. She was going to open a feed and supply store closer to Marcus's land. She said it was good business. But Marcus knew the truth. She was choosing to be part of something. She was choosing to stop looking away. Jim came to check on the animals that Marcus had started bringing in. After Copper Sunrise left, other animals came. A farmer, who could not keep his cattle anymore, brought 3 cows. A woman with a blind dog found Marcus through Sarah. A shelter that was overflowing needed temporary space for horses. Slowly, the cursed land became a place where broken things were healed. Jim brought his wife. She was a woman named Linda who had soft hands and strong opinions. She said, "You are building something here, something that matters." She started helping Marcus clean the barn. She started teaching him how to understand animal medicine. She brought books. She brought knowledge. She brought hope. But the biggest change came when Emma called. "People need to know what you're doing," Emma said over the phone. "People need to know that the curse was not real. The curse was just that everyone gave up. The curse was that people did not believe broken things could be fixed." Emma had written a story, a long story. She sent it to the local newspaper. The newspaper published it on Christmas Eve. The story was about Copper Sunrise. It was about Marcus finding a starving horse on cursed land. It was about Emma abandoning the horse because she was young and scared. It was about Marcus saving the horse even though he had nothing. It was about a community that came together and broke a curse. The headline said, "The cursed land is cursed no more. How one man and one horse changed a town." People started coming. Not many at first. Just a few. The Hendersons came. They were the family that had lived on the cursed land 8 months and then left broken. They looked at what Marcus had built and they cried. They cried because they realized the land was not cursed. They were cursed. They were cursed with the belief that they could not fix things, that they could not ask for help, that broken meant permanent. The Yakamura family came next. They had lasted only 6 weeks before. They looked at the animals in the barn. They looked at Marcus teaching a teenage boy how to care for a horse. They looked at Sarah and Jim and Linda working together. And they said, "We gave up too fast. We did not believe hard enough." Old Pete came. He was a man who had tried for 3 years. He was very old now, very quiet. He walked around Marcus's property, and he smiled for the first time in many years. He told Marcus that his sister was coming to visit, that maybe he would not be alone anymore, that maybe the curse had been loneliness all along. By New Year's, something was changing in the town. The diner that Sarah sold was taken over by a man who wanted to create a community space. He put up a sign that said, "Come together here." The feed store that Sarah was building became the center, where people talked about Marcus's recovery operation. People started volunteering. A man who had lost his job learned how to care for horses. A woman who had lost her child learned how to heal broken animals. People came to the cursed land to fix themselves by fixing something else. Marcus did not plan this. Marcus did not want to be famous. Marcus did not want to be someone people looked up to. But Emma made him understand something when she visited in January. "You are not special," Emma said. "You are not a hero. You just did one thing. You helped when you could. You asked for help when you needed it. And you did not look away. That is all. That is everything." Marcus thought about this. He thought about the man he had been in October. The man with $300 and no hope. The man who thought broken meant finished. What is the curse really? Marcus asked. Emma looked out at the pasture where horses were running. Not just one horse. Multiple horses. Horses that had been saved. Horses that were learning to trust again. "The curse is thinking you're alone," Emma said. "The curse is thinking your broken is too big for anyone to help. The curse is looking at something suffering and deciding it is not your problem. That is the curse. And you broke it. You broke it by saying yes to a starving horse when you had nothing." On a cold afternoon in February, Marcus found an old photograph in the barn. It had been hidden behind a beam for years. It was a photograph of the property from a long time ago. There was a man in the photograph. He looked happy. He looked like the property had meant something to him, like he had loved it. Marcus searched through old records. He found the name, Thomas Wellington. The man had bought the property in 1950. He had farmed it. He had loved it. But in 1975, something had happened. His wife had died. His children had moved away. He had stayed alone for 30 years. The property had become cursed not because the land was bad. The property had become cursed because Thomas Wellington had become isolated, because he had stopped believing anyone would come. Marcus put the photograph in a frame. He hung it in the barn. He said a quiet thank you to Thomas Wellington. He said thank you for showing him what the curse really was. He said thank you for being part of a story that taught people that isolation is the only real curse. The spring came and the cursed land was green again. The grass grew thick. The barn was rebuilt. New fences stood strong. Animals grazed in pastures. People came to volunteer. Children came to learn. Broken people came to heal broken things. And in healing broken things, they healed themselves. Marcus stood on his property one afternoon in March. The sun was warm. The wind was gentle. Sarah was in the barn teaching a young girl how to feed a horse. Jim was in the field checking on cattle. Emma had brought Copper Sunrise back for a visit. The old horse was running. Running, not limping, not afraid, just running because she could, because she had learned to trust again. Marcus thought about the curse. The curse was never in the ground. The curse was never in the air. The curse was in people's hearts. The curse was a belief that broken was permanent. The curse was a decision to look away. The curse was a choice to suffer alone. But the curse could be broken. It could be broken by one person who decided to help when they had nothing. It could be broken by a community that decided to reach down into the hole and pull someone up. It could be broken by love that came back after years. It could be broken by people willing to believe that broken things could become whole again. Marcus closed his eyes. He felt the sun on his face. He felt the warmth of spring. He felt grateful. He felt like someone who had hit bottom and discovered that bottom was not the end. Bottom was where new things grew. The end